Well, ladies and gentlemen, today I will speak in English for those Korean Americans who live abroad speaking in English regions. Let me talk about America's allies' need to increase defense spending, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. Actually, Wilson Beaver wrote an article with this title at the National Interest, magazine a month ago, I think, and this again has been quoted in many other newspapers with a new administration being born and expecting a new defense policies there. According to the article here, we have a key takeaways like this, that the American military is stretched thin, dealing with a wide variety of security crises and deterrence operations from Europe to the Middle East to the Pacific. And also, China threat is far greater than that posed anywhere else, and there is no unified security structure like NATO in East Asia. Also, both America and our allies have a stake in deterring aggression and maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific and Atlantic. So this article emphasizes that American conservatives have long called for allies to increase their defense spending. America's allies in Europe and the Indo-Pacific should expect this discussion to continue and even intensify over the coming month. And as we all understand, American-led international system is good for Americans, but it is also good for Europeans, Japanese, Koreans, Taiwanese, Australians, and many others. So these allies also have a stake in preventing countries like China from overturning the current system, which has made all our allies and partners safer, wealthier, and freer for generations. So this is very important. To keep this system safer under U.S. hegemony, we should increase our defense structure. Also, this article emphasizes that NATO has a Canada problem. It means that France, Germany, and the United Kingdom each have an economy larger than Russia's, and they've used that wealth to generate substantial military forces in the not too distant past. Also, but this kind of spending should be born again to meet the Russian challenges. And for example, in 1985, European NATO member defense spending averaged 3.1% of GDP. This number dropped to more be 1.43% by 2015 and rose only to 1.7% by 2022, which means that this kind of trends should be continued and intensified. Especially, there have been some positive trends since 2022 with Germany and France finally hitting the 2% in the minimum. However, we still have a NATO where countries like Italy, Spain, and Canada spend well below the minimum level. So it is very important to know that it will be necessary for wealthy countries like Germany, France to spend well below 2%. Spending might need to surge as high as 3.5%, as Germany's defense minister has indicated, to make up for the lackluster defense spending of the last 3 decades and acquire the requisite quantities of modern ships, planes that modern militaries need. So we need to increase to a level of 3 to 3.5% to meet new challenges coming out of this unstable world military structures. So especially in the Indo-Pacific region, things are even worse. China's threat is far greater than that posed anywhere else, and there is no unified security structure like NATO in the region. Japan, Australia are moving in the right direction, but Japan still only spends 1.6% of its GDP on defense. Talking about Japan, Japanese defense spending planning is very good, but things are not moving quickly enough. To move faster, Japan must accelerate its defense spending increases. Among other things, likewise, Australia is heading in the right direction and hitting 2% benchmark. Yet, its defense budget will likely not to be enough to fulfill the goals of the Australian government has laid out in its new national defense strategy. So we need to increase more and more as far as national budget capabilities allow us. So talking about South Korea's cases, with the title that Seoul can't shun Taiwan contention's responsibilities, So here he is emphasizing that Taiwan should be the one government taking the current state of affairs most seriously, spending at least as much as the United States, roughly 3.4% on defense in order to deter Chinese aggression. Instead, Chinese defense spending stand only at 2.5% of GDP, far lower than other frontline U.S. allies like Poland, Estonia, respectively 4.1%, 3.4%, who face the more manageable challenge posed by Russia and have the whole NATO alliance to rely on. For comparison, Israel's defense spending in 2023 was 5.3% of GDP. South Korea, approximately 2.8% as of now, too low as a divided country. So the United States will have to rebuild its own military as well for decades. So as we all understand, the U.S. has been distracted by nation building and counter-insurgency campaigns in the Middle East, as opposed to a more pressing challenge, posed by great power competition. So the U.S. naval power in particular has atrophied, and the U.S. military faces severe shortages of precision guided missiles and air and missile defenses, both key capabilities in deterring Chinese aggression. So the defense budget for fiscal year 2026 will need to shift resources into priority areas like procurement of ships, planes, and munitions if the U.S. military is to be capable of deterring great power conflict this coming decade. So in conclusion, he's saying that both America and her allies have a stake in deterring aggression and maintaining a free and open Indo-Pacific and Atlantic. To that end, Americans should continue to push for allies to maintain defense spending increases. How about South Korea's cases? My conclusion is that I think we need to increase our national defense spending at least to 3.5% level of our GDP from the current 2.8% level of current GDP. Why? Because we are the most threatened country in the world by North Korea, also by the Chinese dictatorship, authoritarian government, as we have witnessed all the worlds, in the Central Asia, also North Korea sending troops there, battle troops there, numbering to 10,000 or more, even predicting 20,000. Someone predicting 100,000, something like that. So it is a time of unstable South-North, conflict, possibilities coming out of this kind of world structures. U.S. military hegemony is, losing its power as more and more nuclear capabilities are, divided, by even some, very unstable dictatorship countries like North Korea, something like that. So we should be more aware of the national security interest, coming from this stark reality of divided countries. And as South Koreans are facing more than 2 million North Korean soldiers across the DMZ border with all the weapons of mass destruction and the nuclear capabilities. So I'm saying that South Korea should increase our defense spending to a level of 3.5%. As this paper emphasizes, Israel is spending 5.3% of military spending out of the total GDP. So this is my suggestion. Thank you very much, everybody else, and have a nice lunch. Thank you.